homes, and they disposed of it in dustbins that were picked up by a new business, which the Metropolitans became responsible for removing the waste in order to promote health in our municipalities. And ashes were part of that waste. Now, along the way, coal ash was reclassified, and is it not actually, even if it existed, it wouldn't be called part of your municipal waste stream. It is actually now a toxic waste.
Can we interrupt you just to let people walk behind
Sure.
you?
You could walk behind me.
Okay.
But what has happened is that the rubbish, which is really about, we're just going to make you even more self-conscious. Do you want to go through? Oh, good. Well, we'll just wait for it.
And if you have an empty seat by you, please raise your hand.
This is like in the concert when they get to the first motion or something, movement.
That's the last time we did it, I promise.
Oh, sure. Here. Oops, okay. Oh. Okay, there we go. Just the rubbish is really about products. That's what we've started putting into our waste stream. And the organics are about lawn waste and trees and shrubbery and things and food that are going to landfill and actually start to create methane, which can't always be captured. Methane is a much, much, much more toxic gas than carbon dioxide. So much of what I'm showing you is coming from a group that's called Stop Waste Now, and which is really about the idea that if we could control our waste, which would mean that we can control our consumption, that we could pretty much solve the climate problem right then. But it is pretty remarkable how much we throw away and what it means. Now, the average citizen, the reason that we buy so much and throw so much away is because we're bombarded all the time by advertisements telling us that if we do buy things, we will be happier. Unfortunately, that isn't true, but we keep trying. And just to put this in perspective, that we see more advertising in a year than someone born in 1900 did. It took 38 years for radio in this country to reach 50 million people. It took 13 years for television to reach the same number of people. And it took 4 years for the internet to reach the same number of people. So the ability to get information out and to bombard all of us, about 25% of the time that anyone spends watching television is actually watching commercials. So we are constantly being told that we need to buy things. Now, we believe that we've made it into rituals. In the United States, we actually spend about 3 to 4 times more time shopping than anybody else in the world, unless you're an architect and then you work all the time. But that's I just had to throw that in for a little sympathy. But it is all about what you buy and how you shop. And it doesn't. There is more and more data about this, that it doesn't make us happy. In fact, what they're finding in developed countries is that there's a decrease in the amount that people are involved in organizations. There's a decrease in the amount that people are participating in faith-based organizations. There's a decrease in the amount that people are volunteering for things and taking the initiative in leadership. So our lack of community and our lack of participation, our lack of time for family, are really the things that are causing the slight decline in our happiness, even while our consumption and our purchasing power continue to climb. Now, buying doesn't make us happy, and it doesn't make us healthy either, because we are still polluting the heck out of everything around us. We are still pumping toxics into all of our products and into our environment without check. We continually replace the toxics of the previous miracle age, whether it's the toxic fireproofing that California required for so many years that now turns out to be unrelenting in its lifespan and its habitation of our bodies and other people's bodies, or if it's PCBs that were the miracle product of the 70s that now have to be taken out, or if it's lead paint or asbestos, we still are putting more toxics in. We just don't know yet what they are, and we haven't learned our lessons yet. And I added the last piece about China is because we often talk in sustainability lectures about the impact of the United States, the impact of the United States on buildings. But we must remember that we are also responsible for much of the pollution in the rest of the world, both because of the products we buy from the rest of the world, but also because of the products and the waste that we ship to the rest of the world. So our carbon footprint is worse than what you see in the magazines. And we have to acknowledge that as we think about what we're doing. Now, what's odd is that our gross world product and our gross national product does keep going up. Our living planet index keeps going down. We keep depleting resources. Different estimates say that we've used 1/3 of the resources. And, you know, I know, for instance, my father would have lapashed that and, you know, said, really, there are always going to be more resources. But the resources actually do get harder to get. And as they get harder to get, they cost more in the way that we degrade the earth. So there's quite a bit of talk in the environmental movement about a life cycle assessment and looking at the holistic picture